Okay.
A current affair, VP 302 TBA.
Dashing Don the Trendy. Why do you say you don't like that image?
Well, I think I'd better tell you how all this arose, because I feel fairly strongly about it. At the speech which I was giving in Queensland, I made the speech around the question of the difference in policies between the Queensland and the South Australian state governments, the difference in services provided. I pointed out that in South Australia we spend $30 per head per year more on education. We spend twice per head what Queensland does on housing. That in community welfare, in health and hospitals, in provision of water supply, we do very much better than Queensland does. And this means that Queensland people, in relation to the services that can be provided economically, were missing out. Now, that was what the speech was about, and that was what the release was about. In the course of questioning, a journalist got up and said, how much does it cost the taxpayer in South Australia for you to have press secretaries to sell your trendy image? And I said, that's not what my press secretaries are about. And I'm rather sick of this trendy image bit, because that's something that's put on me by the media. It's not something which is sold by my press secretaries. What my press secretaries are about are policies. And if you have a look at the release which you were given today, you'll see that it was about policies that I've been talking. The press can go around and look at the way I dress, or whether I take a bird to a society show or something like this, but that's something for you. The taxpayer isn't paying for that. Now, that was a minor part of an answer to a question at the end of the show. I got no reportage in the Sydney press about what I was really there about, though the Queensland press, to do it credit, did report what I said. But I got front page on Don Dunstan sets out to change his trendy image. I didn't set out to do any such thing.
Right, we'll come back to the trendy image in politics, perhaps, which is possibly what it was about. But what about the personal one? Does it concern you that people talk that way? Or do you encourage it?
No, it doesn't worry me.
Or do you like it?
It's not a question of liking one way or another, is it? I don't choose to change my personal style because I'm a politician.
But do you go out of your way, though, to perhaps encourage that sort of talk?
No, I don't. What I have set about being in politics is what I hope Australians can set about being normally in their lives, and that is an individualist. So I go my own way about things, and if the media are going to call that trendy, well, they can. You know, this particular suit, which was the suit that I was wearing the day in question, is a suit I didn't buy in order to be conservative in image. It was just a suit which I would normally buy. I had it and have been wearing it on many occasions which the press had seen me in. It was a nonsense to say he turned up in a conservative striped suit today.
There are particular articles of clothing of yours that have prompted comment, but there's one that I haven't seen much about, and I think you're wearing it now, and that's a ring.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Can we have a look at it?
Yeah,
Does that have any special significance?
Yes, it does. This was given to me by the Navajo Indians in Window Rock many years ago. And they said, well, you know, everybody round here wears our jewellery, and that's about right. Every cowboy's got it around his wristwatch and his neck and his belt. And I said, oh, I don't wear jewellery. And they said, oh, come on, you were talking about rough settings of rough stones. Try one of those rings on. And they put it on my finger. It went on very easily. I couldn't get it off again. It was an old Indian trick. I can get it off now, but you have to go through an elaborate twisting thing to do it.
Good heavens.
And they said, that's yours.
So you basically wear it day and night now, do you?
I wear it all the time.
Well,
always have, ever since that time.
A few weeks ago, you told your voters, don't blame us for Canberra's mistakes. Are you disappointed in the federal Labor government?
I've had my differences with the federal Labor government, but looking at the news that is coming from Canberra at the moment, and from Mr. Fraser, I should say that Australia would be doing very much worse under the alternative.
But what are the mistakes that Mr. Whitlam's government has made?
Well, the mistakes in question at the time of our election, of course, were mistakes in economic policy and mistakes concerning the foreign loans affair, which had hit the front pages of newspapers and taken our election off them.
What about Mr. Whitlam's own performance as Prime Minister? Are you satisfied with it?
I've had my differences with Mr. Whitlam as he has with me. On the other hand, I think that he's been an enormously successful Prime Minister in many ways. Internationally, he is probably the best regarded Prime Minister we've ever had.
Does Canberra need Don Dunstan?
No, it doesn't. And it won't get him either.
Why not?
I came into politics because I was concerned about people where they live, the things that affect their daily lives, to make them better. I came into Parliament representing a district in which there was a good deal of poverty. And I find that in order to carry out the policies of the Labor Party for those people, the actual carrying out is done at the state level. You may create the conditions federally, but the actual work has to be done at the state level. I came into politics to do that, and that's what I'm continually about. In addition to that, I believe that in South Australia we have the chance to do something even more. We have the possibility of creating the best urban conditions anywhere in South Australia. We have a planned city which we caught in time. We don't have to undo things madly, as Sydney and Melbourne will have to spend billions doing in the future. The city is workable, movable, with a quality of life which most people in the place appreciate very much, and which we are going to be able to enhance. Now, I believe that's an effective job for Australia, and the rest of Australia is going to get benefits from what we are doing. You know, it's this kind of contrast. If you go back in history, Athens as a city-state has affected the rest of world history a darn sight more than Alexander's Macedonian Empire has done. Something that is done in a concentrated form on a small scale can have an enormous effect. I believe that we're going to have that effect in South Australia, and I believe that's an important job to be done. I undertook it. I'm not going to desert it.
So you've absolutely made up your mind, have you, that you'd never consider Canberra?
It would require quite extraordinary circumstances for me to obey some call from the party to go to Canberra. It's not something that I want to do, and I don't think it's something that will ever be likely to happen.
Now, Mr. Whitlam has said modestly that if he wasn't the leader of the party mightn't be in power. Who's likely to be the next leader?
I think it's very difficult at this stage of proceedings to forecast who the next leader of the Labor Party will be.
Is there another good leader?
I think that in due season that Bob Hawke will become the leader of the party.
Well, that was the point I was going to bring up. There are two people outside the Labor Party at the moment, outside the Parliamentary Labor Party, Don Dunstan and Bob Hawke. You're not looking at anyone inside the party?
Well, the obvious person in the federal cabinet, of course, for such a post as a successor to Gough when he goes would be Bill Hayden. But Bill has made it very clear over a long period that it is not a post he wants, and he doesn't see himself in the leadership position.
Well, now you're trying to talk Bob Hawke into going to federal parliament, and especially by saying what you've now said. Can't he say the same to you and say the two of you should be there?
Well, he has said that to me, but I think that we have established a basis of understanding about the needs of the future of the party. In fact, he and I have a great deal of accord.
Bob Hawke still has a fairly strong power base at the moment. He doesn't really need federal parliament either.
He doesn't need it from a personal point of view. I don't think he's looking at it in that way. I think Bob Hawke is looking to do a service for the people of Australia, And I think that in the Parliament is where he will ultimately find his best service.
You've obviously then discussed this together. You say you've on
Yes, I
accord.
have.
Has he given you an undertaking that he will go to federal Parliament?
He hasn't given me an undertaking that he will. He has certainly contemplated it, and he's made that public.
But he hasn't taken any further with you?
Well, he hasn't said, look, I'm running next time for such and such a seat. No.
We've talked about Don Dunstan's strengths and the possible future, but there are a few other weaknesses we might talk about.
All right.
Back in a moment.
Okay.
I said before the break we'd talk about Don Dunstan's weaknesses. I don't know any. What are they?
Well, I think that at times I tend to procrastinate a little. That might seem surprising to some people who at times have found me impatient in politics. In addition to this, I have on occasions tended to doom a block a bit.
Has it got you into trouble?
Occasionally, not very
Politically?
much. Or a little. I can remember during the last elections when I called Philip Lynch a rotten bloody liar, and I lost my temper when I did that. That there was the greatest of gloom in the office. People said, oh, he's done it now, he's really turned it in, what have you. In fact, I made it clear very shortly afterwards, because Mr. Lynch made it clear that, in fact, the statement about which I was complaining had been completely made up by him. I made it clear that I had meant what I said, and there was every reason for me to call somebody a liar and not to find that undignified, rather than that he should be one and call me undignified for calling him one. But in the ultimate, I think it came out actually as a plus. People saw me as being angry and human about something which was pretty wrong.
Is there anything you'd want?
You know, there have been times when I have got a bit too cross in Parliament.
Is there anything you'd want to change about yourself other than that? Say, a cooler temper?
Oh, yes, I don't absorb things as quickly as I would like. Not that I'm a slow study, but I've always admired Gough Whitlam's enormous capacity for work. It is tremendous. I just don't have his stamina or his powers of long-term concentration.
What are Gough Whitlam's weaknesses?
Oh, I think that he doesn't consult enough. There have been numbers of occasions when he has made decisions without adequately talking them through with people affected. And he hasn't kept groups in the public on side. It's necessary in our kind of community, if you're to make the democratic process work, to ensure that where you are taking an action, that it be pretty thoroughly talked through. Because if you're simply relying on some expert who's bringing you something forward, you say, oh yes, we'll decide that way. Decisions are important to government. You often find that, in fact, it has a whole series of side effects which are quite counterproductive to your aim. And we've evolved a process in South Australia now where we have a very great deal of consultation on the policies that we put into effect. It's where we're affecting a particular interest group, it's talked through with that interest group.
Has lack of consultation then been one of the reasons why the Labor Party federally is not where it should be in terms of popularity?
Yes, I believe so. And if there had been fuller consultation, I think that a number of the decisions that have been taken would not have been taken.
Do you think that can now be rectified? Will the Prime Minister change?
I think that there is more consultation in a number of areas now than there used to be. But the problem is that there have been a large number of particular interest groups alienated. Merely to reverse what alienated them won't get them back on side. You're going to have to do more than that. And whether that can be done economically is, of course, again, another matter. You know...
You're predicting gloom.
Well, it's
For the Labour Party.
it's going to be a hard road back, and anybody in the Labour Party would have to admit that fact.
Can it make it back?
It is possible.
Unlikely?
Well, at this stage of proceedings, it's far too early to predict. You know, political climates change enormously in present-day politics within 6 months.
But you seem to be, by what you say, levelling most of the blame then at the leader.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that by any means. On the other hand, I think that there is a real problem which arose in the Federal Labour Party from the fact that in the early days of the government, he tended to make decisions without consultation with caucus, and certainly at times without consultation with the cabinet, and make that announcement and bind the party to it. Now, as a result of his doing that, other members of cabinet felt that they had the right to do the same sort of thing. That produced some of the disarray which we had seen in earlier times in the cabinet, but I think that that has now been caught up with. I think that there's very much more consultation now, and of course one can always point to the fact that in the early days of the government, everybody was so keen to get on with a job that they'd been fighting to get done for 30 years that everybody was galloping off as fast as they could go on their own particular horse. That's not surprising with the new Labour government. It happened to us in 1965.
We were talking before about you personally, and there's one question that I suppose everyone in Australia keeps rumouring and talking about, and that's you personally. You know the rumours I'm talking about. Do you have any comment to make?
Well, the rumours about me are so extraordinary, bizarre, and
well, would you like to name the rumour and comment?
Well, there are a whole series of rumours. There were rumours... No, there had been a series of campaigns. The first was that I was actually not Australian at all, but a Melanesian orphan half-caste bastard. That went on for a considerable period. Complete piece of nonsense. And as I've said time and again, what if I were? That went on for a long time. Then there was a rumour very widespread in South Australia that in fact, actually, of course, I wasn't capable of doing anything very much at all. I was only kept on my feet by shock treatment. And when I made a trip interstate, it was always to go and get things. Otherwise, they kept me locked up until they had to push me onto the stage. You've no idea how widespread that was. Well, eventually that faded, although you still get it. Then there were all sorts of rumours about my sexual bizarreness. Well, they haven't any basis either. As I've said publicly, if I were to have been involved in a quarter of what is alleged about me in that regard, well, I'd be like Mr. Shandy's bull, not equal to the office at all. I'm simply an ordinary human being. The problem about this sort of thing is not merely that you get malicious nonsense put forward by your political opponents, and the Liberal Party, with each one of these things, has door-knocked house to house on occasion in South Australia, but that people love to gossip. They love to gossip about anybody in public life, including people who are prominent in television.
Yes.
And they have their own fantasies, with which they enliven their dull lives at times, and they like to fasten those fantasies on figures whom they can see. Everybody who is in any sort of public position is subject to this, and if the person is individualist or unusual anyway, the more the fantasies get fastened on them.
Do they concern you?
To me.
Do they concern you?
Not very much, really. It's just one of those things that one gets to know about. At times they provide me with a pretty good laugh.
One last question. Do you hope to break Sir Thomas Playford's record of 27 years as State Premier?
No, I don't. If I stayed in till I was 65, I wouldn't have broken his record, and I don't intend to stay beyond that date if the electors are kind enough to keep me there till then.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Dunstan.
you.